Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to this week's edition of Imperial as One's Belonging series. It's a series where we explore the lived experiences of individuals from the Black, Asian, and minority ethnic communities, individuals who have shared their journeys to gaining their sense of identity and sense of belonging. And I say this every week, and I'm really special that we've got a special guest. I'm going to call her um um Babalola, and she is an amazing woman. Um, she's from Nigeria and a professor in South Africa in agriculture. Um, and she's a real advocate for women. She's a member of the African Academy of Science. There's so many memberships, I can't list them all here, but she's thankfully one of the provost visiting professors at Imperial College at the moment. So Baba, it's a real honor to have you with us. And I want to start off by asking our first question, which is, can you tell me what it is or what it was that gave you your sense of identity and sense of belonging as you were growing up?
Thank you, Wayne, for having me. It's the pleasure being here. And I must first tell you, I'm extremely grateful and happy to be here as the provost visiting professor. And yeah, back to the topic. My sense of identity, I will be able to trace it back to the personality of my dad. My parents are those that strongly believe in education. And my dad is the type that is willing to give his everything to ensure that his children are up and doing when it comes to education.
Mhm.
You see, his belief is that when you are educated, that will take you out of poverty.
Mhm.
Yeah, not that I'm from a poor background, but I would say like um, we are middle class.
Mhm.
So you see, there's so much investment that right from the onset, my parents put me in a private school, and that is the big thing for me and also for them because it cost much. You could have as well sent your child to um, public school, which you will not have to spend that much.
Mhm.
And aside from that, it's not only about sending to school, it's also about him ensuring that he sits me down and talk to me. He does it in many ways. He'll do it himself, and at the same time, he will ask that he wants me and him to visit so so and so. And when we get there, you will know that you might have spoken to this person to try to motivate me, to speak sense into my being. And you'll see he has been doing this thing in a strategic way because when we get there, this person will start talking. For example, the one I will never forget is this person that told me about the aspect of being truthful,
Mhm.
and it will give analogy of real life experience, how this thing pays off and things like that. And after some time, this, it's like I started inculcating all those cultures. I think those are the things that really define me today. And I must also say that even when I married, I happened to marry someone who happens to make good relationship with my dad. My dad is now a blessed memory, but they were in great alliance. So it's like my dad handed over the baton into his hand and say, "This girl, uh, the formation. This is how the formation should be." So I've always enjoyed a very good platform right from the onset, even as a girl going to the primary school, in high school, at the university level, even when I married. And I could see that I must say I'm favored.
Oh, I love that. I love the idea of your father's favor, right? Your father pouring blessings into you from a very early age and seeing your potential and getting you to live up to that potential, right? So in terms of your father's children, you the first, the second, the third, where do you rank in terms of that?
You. I'm the first child,
Right.
and I must also say something that he always asks that I all the other ones, if I do something correctly, they will follow suit because they will see me as the role model.
Mm.
So his own belief is so much as he is investing in me, this other one they will follow suit because they will follow after their elder sister.
Yeah. So
So
you
we are five.
Wow. So you had a bit of responsibility. It was not just living up to what your father was saying, but it was also about setting the standard for the rest of your siblings.
Yes. And that forms part of what helped me in terms of leadership
Mhm.
because it's like I've really been set up for success right from the beginning. I must say that because these things cannot just happen naturally. I must say that I've been set up for success. And someone that has been given the leadership role right from the beginning and being guided at the same time so that you do not derail. And today you see it in my life and all the things that I lay my hands upon, and everywhere where I happen to operate as a leader, I can testify of that aspect of the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World, OWSD, where I'm the vice president for the second term running. And it wouldn't have been ordinary thing if not for the upbringing and also for the support from my husband. I'm talking about women organization. I'm talking about my husband because he's an industrial psychologist and I see him helping me in many ways in my role in leadership position. And if I look at my position as the vice president for the World Academy of Sciences, I will give you an example. The person I was competing with is not of my own gender. And this person wrote me to step down for him.
Wow.
Yes, real life. I know I'm on here. And I got the backing of my husband. He said to me, no, two of you should compete. Let the people decide. And today I'm proud
Mhm.
that I'm the vice president for the World Academy of Sciences. I wasn't intimidated by any other person.
That's
My leadership position goes beyond that. In the Nigerian Academy of Science, I'm the Foreign Affairs Secretary, and I'm happy to be good at home and abroad. And these things are not things that I just stepped into in one day.
mhm.
Much was invested in me, and at the same time, I invested in myself because I went as far as after being a full professor to sit for MBA. I first did diploma in middle management, and I said no, let me go for the full blown MBA after that. And in my MBA, because of what my passion is, I studied about women in leadership. That's the topic that I did.
Mhm.
So, and that helped me to really, I was so inquisitive and I was delving more and more because I was now dealing with women of timber and caliber to please open up to me on some issues. And yes, I'm grateful for all these things. So
Listen, I know that we can talk for ages, right? I can already, because there's so many things which you've already uncovered or unpacked to say about your father prepared you for leadership. And
Yeah.
that's what you've then been going on and have throughout your career, that you've always found yourself in positions of leadership. Yeah, it's like that preparation was it wasn't just for you, it was for a continent. Yeah, yeah,
If I will talk science, if I will talk about my research laboratory,
yeah.
by the help of God, I've graduated 36 PhD students
Mm,
and 25 masters. I think that is also part of leadership,
absolutely.
because to graduate one PhD student is not an easy task. And I didn't say have done it all, but I was the principal investigator and the main supervisor. But part of leadership is delegation.
Hmm.
Part of leadership is the spirit of resilience,
Hmm.
and also to be able to listen. I mean, listening is more than just what is said with the mouth,
Hmm.
body language, and many other things like that. And the caring for the people that you work with. Because when the lab is more like a house, I mean, where there is family, then you will see that things will move.
Absolutely. I'm going to just I'm gonna just ask another question, all right? Because I'm just hearing what you're saying. And before we get into some of all of the leadership things, because clearly your father saw something, that potential in you, and he encouraged you. When you were going through school, when you were making your decisions as to what you wanted to do, who was, other than your father, who else was giving you the encouragement about what to do next?
Thank you. The way have been, I read a lot.
Mhm.
So you will see me reading things like how to be a role model.
Mhm.
I read books like how to convince people in 5 minutes. In fact, when I became the head of department at the Northwest University before my stepping into the position of director, I said, I've never been, because it wasn't long I got to South Africa then. And the first nomination for head of department, I was the one nominated and I should say voted in. I remember going to the Mabato library to read about things on university management, departmental management, and things like that. So I read a lot to beef up myself, and that it's part of that thing that propelled me when I said I went to do MBA, because I saw that the things I'm doing now is not merely chemicals anymore. I'm not only doing lab work, I'm into people management.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm into capacity building. And I see the lives of these people are precious and they are in my hand. I must not fail. So I should also mention that I have great mentors, because when I was in high school, there is that biology teacher that I admire. I admire, maybe it's because I love the subject, or is the woman, I can't differentiate between the two.
Mhm.
But you will just find out that these are people that you look up to. In fact, some are mentors to me, but quietly they did not know.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I have many mentors, I mean, because I can say you are my mentor in terms of my dress code, but I may not fancy any other thing in you than that.
Yeah.
Then have another mentor because I see when that individual is passing through a lot, you will see how he or she is able to comport him or herself and things like that. So I have a number of mentors in my life, and I've been working with those principles.
That sounds really good. So just tell everybody what it is that you studied at university prior to getting all of your leadership, and what's your subject area in agriculture?
Thank you. I did microbiology,
Mhm,
general microbiology for BSc at the master's level also. But at the PhD level, I now delve into soil microbiology.
mhm,
So when you start that, you have tilted towards the agriculture. So my trace now is SDG2, which is zero hunger. And I'm pushing in that aspect so that we all have food on our table with the knowledge that has been put in me. I use the genomic approach and I use the conventional approach as well in solving the problem. So I could say the keywords in my research will be things like biofertilizer, metagenomics, and then soil microbiology. By biofertilizer, I mean instead of the chemical fertilizer, we are generating fertilizer that are microbes, and these microbes are from the soil. So they are environmentally friendly. They will not do any detrimental, they have no detrimental effects. And now multiplying it in the lab, formulating it in such a way that it could be taken back to the field for application, and being able to pass it across to farmers. Uh, then the metagenomic aspect now is now looking at everything dead and alive that is there in the soil rhizosphere, that is at the soil in close connection with the plant roots. And studying that gives also understanding of what we could do with these microbes that we have selected. I mean, giving clue to us that would have taken donkey years if we use the conventional approach. So we use the genomic approach to solve some issues.
so it's about sustainability then. It's about providing um, better crop survival um, in a changing environment.
Should
It,
say is about plant health management. So it's like these microbes will boost the immunity of the plant. It will give the plant more nutrients,
mhm,
and it will boost the yield component of the plants. So we are going to have bountiful harvest.
mhm. And I suspect that's very important, kind of like in South Africa and in Africa, in ensuring that you've got a uniform crop or better crop for feeding people, etc. Um, so it's again, it's about sustainability or making sure that and sustainability, which is localized sustainability, not requiring people from external to come in to be given fertilizers, etc. Am I right in that? Is that kind of
It's health, the health of the soil.
yeah?
Because when we put these microbes there, when they flourish there, there is a lot of things going on, and it also assists when the plant excrete into the soil. That is the plant exudates.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay, so from that, right? Clearly, you established yourself um, as an expert, a world leading expert on that. But as you kind of like have already said, making that transition from soil science to managing people. and understanding people, all right? Clearly, you've done a lot of study to help you with that. What would you say is the impact? How has that impacted your sense of belonging and impacted the sense of belonging of the people who have been in your labs, etc.?
Thank you. I have a number of people
Hmm.
that will tell me, I want to be like you. And I think what would have made someone to say that is because they have seen one thing in me that they feel is something that they need to adopt also. So, and I know my own legacy because I do talk to myself also. My own legacy is to reproduce myself many times over.
Hmm.
And when I mean reproduce myself, that version of me that is good for the community,
Hmm.
to have it many times over. And I must even say that because I mentioned the issue of the Organization for Women in Science, I never at first ever in my life um, plan to go to women conference. I go to conference that are thematic to soil, plant health, and those.
Hmm.
But one of my postdoc then from Yemen told me that she has nominated me for the position of the vice president of OWSD. I said, wow. I said, what is it about? She said, because she sees I'll be able to do that work effectively, the way I run after them in the lab, that I'll be able to do it. And lo and behold, when the shortlisting was done, I was shortlisted.
Mm.
And I was now running helter skelter because I didn't prepare for this thing, helter skelter to get visa because now the election was in Kuwait.
Oh
I
my.
was, yeah, I was running out because I didn't pay attention to this thing. And you won't believe I got my visa on a public holiday.
Oh wow.
When I went to the embassy, the person that was there the day I submitted my application says there is no more time to give me visa. But that man said something. He said, I just finished my PhD at the University of Pretoria, and I know what it means to be a professor. For your sake, I will come on that public holiday. Just be here 10 a.m. at the door to, I will open and give you your passport with your visa.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. Absolute. The fact that it was your student who nominated you for the position, you know, that speaks volumes. You know,
Exactly.
it's one thing for you to say, I'm good, I'm really good. But it's something else for somebody else to look at you and say, I actually see you as a role model and I
Yeah.
see you as being able to make a difference. Now, you said that you don't really attend women's conferences.
Never. That was where I was elected was the first women conference that I went.
Yeah. So what was it then? Um, what changes have you seen having been kind of like in your position? Are you seeing changes towards the attitudes towards women? What is the role that you have within that organization?
Thank you. My role is not only to have the title, I am in position to handle the Africa region, and you know the number of countries in Africa. So what I do when I have my thematic conference, like the last meeting I went for was in Mozambique. And in Mozambique, I went to attend the Sarima conference, South Africa Research in Institute for Management. What is it called now? So that was the Sarima meeting that I went for. And I will, in every meeting I go, I will contact the women of that nation that are member, that I'll be in the country and I'm available to support them for that time I will just add maybe 2 days extra to my trip.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, I've done these in many African countries.
Mhm.
So as I'm doing my core research, I'm taking along the aspect of building other women. That's in terms of the physical meeting. There are many meetings that are also done that will be like virtual, where I'll be given a topic to speak on,
Mhm.
or I will be the one to help them to source for a speaker. We've handled many topics of interest. And especially during the COVID period, while everyone were confined to stay at home,
Yeah.
there were a lot of things going on that time.
Yeah.
And I'm also into mentoring. So I have a lot of mentees. And sometimes also I don't say I know it all. I've learned also to shout to someone else who could be of help to
Mhm.
please come in and intervene in the matter at hand. So we do a number of things. It's not only meetings, we give support. Of recent, some women have been announced. Each of them were given 50,000 US dollars.
Wow.
Yeah, Elsevier Foundation to support their research. They are highly career women in science.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, and I'm also proud because all these things I'm doing also is also showing because it is one of the members of these OWSD that nominated me for the South African Women in Science Award. And that's a national award.
Mhm.
So I'm extremely grateful for all these opportunity.
I'm gonna just pull you back a little bit because that was brilliant what you've just said. But there was something which kind of like popped into my head as you were talking, which was about with you going to all of these countries and planning in your itinerary to say to speak with the women from those countries. Are there any themes which you are kind of like emergent, which are saying, in South Africa, the women are saying this, in Mozambique, they're saying this, in Botswana, they're saying this. Are there any kind of like parallels between their experiences that the world needs to know or we need to understand to say, this is something that we need to pinpoint and work towards changing?
Because we talk science, I see one thing is common in terms of the science aspect, and that is in terms of grant application.
Hmm.
You'll see a number of them will say, I don't know how to overcome the problem. I've been submitting application. I'm looking for funding to support my research, or I don't know how to get collaborator because I don't have this equipment. But if I can get a collaborator and the collaborator is one problem solved, the aspect of funding to go to the hosting lab is another problem. That's it in terms of science. I noticed that is common. But out of science, the other thing that I noticed that is common is when people will say, I have issues. For example, look at me. I have this PhD, but it's like I'm not recognized in my department because I'm female. I don't know what to do, or because I graduated there, they still regard me as a student and I have my PhD.
Mm.
And people will just be asking me around.
These are common challenges. That idea about how do you go about then empowering those women to you mentioned where you had about 10 women who got significant amount of funding from Elsevier, a grant from there. How do we go about ensuring that women's potential is recognized and empowering them to actually, one, apply, but maximize their opportunity to success.
A good example is these early career women that have been awarded substantial amount of money, and that money is to help them. Now they've been trained, they have their PhD. That money is to help them to be able to start their own laboratory. And then once you are given that leverage, it is believed that you are going to multiply every opportunity given to you, and you are also going to absorb other people into the lab, not only even women, you are going to absorb male and female
Mhm,
students into the lab to train them. And it's like they give you the platform to operate.
mhm. So it's funding is one issue, but there was also the issue of recognizing their talent. So I suppose you could say they're almost the same. But the ladies who the women who you spoke about, who were saying we have our PhD, but yet at the same time, people are not recognizing us as being qualified to discuss these subjects, or they're treating us as though we're still students. How do we overcome those barriers?
Um, I'm Nigerian, I'm an African,
Mhm.
and there is a cultural intelligence.
Yeah.
So you'll find that in the culture, for example, it's like if you are having only girl child, it's like you have not gotten a child.
Mhm. Mm.
It's like you have not gotten a child.
Mhm.
So that is the patriarchal society.
Mm.
So that belief, we are pushing, we are making efforts, but sometimes it's like one step forward, two step backward
Mm.
because of the belief system. So I think platform like this and every other platform that we find ourselves, we should not stop to be a voice.
Mm.
And also we ourselves, the way we are raising our sons, we should make them to be aware that the girls are not inferior.
That's right.
I mean, because this thing starts from home. Because when I try to make the boy to feel more important than the girl, then he or she, I mean, he carries that belief to marriage, to office,
Yeah.
to their workplace, to everywhere.
Yeah.
So we should keep being the voice. And all those people, I speak to them nicely and encourage them, give them the moral support they need. If need be, direct them to somebody who is more experienced. I don't know it all, who is more experienced, who can help. And I've used one word, cultural intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you must not start stepping on some toes,
Yeah.
and at the same time you are human, and you should be respected.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you raised some really good points there. Um, this idea about cultural intelligence, understanding it's very similar to when you're talking about your plant health, the microbes, understanding what microbes are needed in the soil for the soil to flourish. It's the same way within society, understanding what are the factors that we need to be putting in place from in the home, in the rest of society to ensure that everybody's able to flourish, boys and girls, that boys. And I think one of the things which really has struck me was when you spoke about the relationship between your dad and your husband, right? And the reason why I say that is you spoke about how your father was constantly encouraging you, right? Pushing you, providing you with the advice. But the husband that you found also hasn't limited you. He's
Yeah,
constantly encouraged you, and allowed you to take up the space, to occupy the space. And I think that that's a beautiful thing, you know. What's your husband's name? If you don't mind me asking, sorry.
Yeah, it's Sunday.
It's
He was born on a Sunday, so his name is Sunday.
oh, fantastic Sunday, right? That's fantastic, you know. But Sunday has instilled in you but he's continued what your father started,
It's,
yeah, and that's what,
yeah.
yeah, and saying that they valued you.
I can give you an example. You know, when we married, it says you have to do your PhD. Ah, PhD? Yeah, you have to do your PhD because when I become a professor, at least if you cannot be a professor, they should say Professor and Dr. Mrs. So you have to do your PhD. He went to the graduate school, took the PhD form, fill it for me and everything. I scaled through the year one of PhD. When I want to register for year two, he has gone on a conference. And that was when I went to the graduate school myself. He would have done it also.
So he was leading by example. He was saying, "I want you to do it, and let's do it together." You know,
Yeah,
and that's the kind of relationship that it shouldn't be a competition between
not
you.
at all.
Yeah, there's the
Not at all.
synergy. You know, how do we get that kind of mindset into more of our cultures? Because you spoke about cultural intelligence. How do
Yeah.
we get that mindset across when we're talking about women emancipation and empowerment of women? How do we get that back into our our cultures?
It takes two to tango. It rests in the hand of the woman, it rests in the hand of the man. I, for one, have understand that when I'm going to the place of work, I'm a professor. And I know when I'm going home, I'm a mother. I'm blessed with children. So I carry that mentality. And the man also should also have that mentality that if she becomes a professor, she's not competing with me. Or if she becomes the CEO or the vice chancellor, name it, she is not competing with me because she will bring the glory home. She will bring the glory home.
Yeah,
So the woman should carry that mentality to make things work. And yeah, we know boundaries and things like that. And the man also should have the mentality that, yes, she is not a foot, something I will be stepping upon, but she is someone who also is supporting me, and we have to work together for the benefit of our children, of our home, our community, our nation.
yeah, fantastic, fantastic. I know that you're a big advocate. I can hear it in your voice. I can see it in the your disposition. You're a big advocate for women and getting that equality, recognition, sharing. How at Imperial, as a provost visiting professor, how will you use this platform? How are you using this platform to help both in Africa and here in the UK? Or how, yeah,
Thank you. One of the things that I've done, I've written someone in charge of equity, diversity, and inclusion to see how we can bring on board the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World so we can work in partnership. Aside from that, when I had my meeting with the provost, I mentioned to him my passion for, though I'm here for core science, but I said I have another passion. And that passion is so and so. And he also mentioned to me that there are people going on outreaches and things like that. And if I would like to join, I said, why not?
amen.
Like, I would like to join such. And at the same time, when we are talking about women, even giving people the light of the path to follow is exactly what I'm doing. Because in my LinkedIn, I announced that, okay, I'm in now at Imperial, so, and so are the things I plan to do. Part of it is collaboration. And when I put collaboration, I see people already writing me how they can get direction. So I'm doing that big time.
Absolutely. As Imperial's values are collaboration, integrity, respect, innovation, and the last one, excellence. All right.
I call it RICE. Respect, innovation, collaboration, excellence. Then there is one that is
The double eyes. You're right. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, the rice,
yeah,
it's absolutely. And so I want to see how we can all work together to ensure that the rice, as it is, right, our value systems are not just here at Imperial, but how we can ensure that the work that you're doing is recognized here and that we can help to support the many women who you are already supporting in Africa, and not just in Africa, because then it becomes the African diaspora
many nations.
in many nations, yeah, where they can see and say, you know what, yes, Baba is doing some great things, how can we help to support that? I think it's amazing. I don't know if anyone else has any questions which they would like to ask, but I have two additional questions which I would like to ask before we close. Okay. And they
It's not a question, but a compliment.
come Sunday.
Yeah. Just to say, oh, see, you just mentioned the word there. Just to reassure a fantastic sharing of your life and your experience. Thank you very much. And just to reassure you, people call Sunday, they're the best people in the world.
Thank you.
And I'm called Sunday as well. And you've got one of us. So you're very,
Thank
very
you.
lucky. Very, very lucky. So please keep him happy. That's all I'm going to say.
Thanks.
Sunday, not that you're biased. Not that you're biased in any
No,
way.
no, not at all. Not at all. It's the first day of the week, and it's the only day of the week that people are allowed to rest.
Thank you, Sunday. Okay. So let me ask my final two questions, right? And it's in line with what it's kind of like the same kind of question. But the first part of the question is, tell me what advice you would have given to your younger self. And then the second part of the question is, looking back, what do you think your younger self would look at you now and say, wow?
Yeah. Something that I used to say to my students when we start our lab meeting, and I ask them to repeat after me. And that, I think, is what I would say to my younger self, and that is to say, proper planning prevents poor performance.
I'm going to steal that one. Proper
Yeah,
planning,
prevents poor performance.
the 5 Ps.
Yes. And that thing is only not, it's not just for laboratory alone, though I use it in the lab to tell them if they don't want to spend extra years, if they don't want to hang around, if they don't want to waste resources, then proper planning is very important. So I think to a younger me, I will say to this individual that for all aspects of your life, proper planning is important to prevent poor performance.
That's beautiful. I love that. I really do. I'm going to steal that one. I'll give you credit for it. All right. I'll give you that, but that one's I really like that.
I've already stolen it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
and it's
It's
gonna
good.
rhyme with my failing to plan
You
is
plan to,
planning to fail.
that's right.
Yes, yeah. And also, I think this individual will say, wow, when reflecting on the fact that in my career, I've produced, graduated 35 PhD students and 25 masters. I'm not even counting the honors students anymore because it's so numerous.
Wow.
So I think those are not easy to come by.
No, not at all. I think there's other things that they would say wow about. I think the fact that where you started off, being the first to go to university in your family, you know,
Yeah.
and to see that you've not just got a PhD, you've got an MBA. There are so many things, and you're a
Yeah.
mother, and I don't know how you find the time to do everything, but you're amazing,
Goodness.
right?
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely amazing. Um, and whilst you're here at Imperial, right, it's, as I said, it's a very big honor for us to have you. And I know that we will be working together to try to make here and in collaboration with the things which you're doing back in South Africa,
Yeah.
to work together to make it a more inclusive environment for everyone. So I just want to say another really big thank you for being our guest
You.
today, this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. So I'm going to just quickly share with everyone what we're going to be who we're going to have on next week, and I think this one will also very much interest you. Um, Next week we're going to have Mapila um, Dana, and she's the founder of My Three Sicklers, and it's a sickle cell foundation. It's a non-for-profit organization raising awareness of sickle cell disease and how, having had three children with sickle cell, what it is as a mother, she is doing to help to advocate for that or to raise awareness and make better environments for them. That's going to be on a slightly later time between 2 and 3 o'clock. She's coming to us all the way from the USA to provide us with that. So please join us. The other thing, if you have missed any of the other interviews, then please go to our YouTube channel, which is tinyurl.com/belonging IAO. And our book is out, The Black PhD Experience. You can order. We're having a book launch next week, but please, it's a very good book at sharing individuals' experiences. And once again, I just want to say thank you to all of the many guests who I've had over the past 4.5 years, who have shared their stories, who have given us an insight in what it means to find your identity and your sense of belonging. And so until next time, keep building on your narratives, keep reclaiming your narratives and gaining your sense of who you are and your sense of belonging. Thank you, and I will see you again next week.